The Rajapaksas in Sri Lanka have registered a landslide victory in the parliamentary polls. Sri Lanka's ruling Rajapaksa brothers and their allies won an unprecedented two-thirds supermajority in the twice-postponed parliamentary election. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's party secured 145 seats while his allies won at least 5 seats. This gave him and his brother Gotabaya, who is the country's president, the supermajority required for constitutional changes in the 225-member legislature. The strong mandate for the ruling SLPP will now authorize them to amend the Lankan constitution so as to restore presidential powers, which were curbed in 2015 due to constitutional reform. Now, this win enables the Rajapaksa clan to potentially revoke the country's 19th constitutional amendment, which has been a long-standing campaign promise from last year. Sri Lankan politics dominated by the Rajapaksa family for the past 2 decades. Mahinda was president from 2005 to 2015, but was ousted after a revolt within his own party and public backlash against alleged nepotism and corruption. The brothers are best known for crushing the Tamil Tiger rebels fighting for a separate homeland for minority Tamils during the elder Rajapaksa's presidency in 2009. Hence, the issue of minority representation will remain a challenge. The tourism-dependent nation has been struggling since deadly Islamist militant attacks on hotels and churches last year, followed by lockdowns to slow down the spread of COVID-19. Sri Lanka is staring at huge economic challenges. The island nation is facing a dearth of tourism amid the COVID-19 crisis. The debt burden is another strain on the economy. Official figures showed economic growth fell 1.6% in the first quarter of this year, while the Asian Development Bank forecast a 6.1% contraction of the economy this year. And for more on that, we're joined by Ambassador B.G. Parthasarathy, the director at the India-Sri Lanka Foundation. Thanks very much, as always, Ambassador, for speaking with us. Ramifications are immense for this verdict for the island country, also for the entire region. Coming specifically to the changes that are in store now that the supermajority has been attained by the Rajapaksa brothers.
Well, I think, yes, the entire thing of having a president with unrestrained power proved a bit of a disaster during the presidency of Mr. Sirisena the last time around. So one is not surprised that they want that to be changed. But more importantly, I think there are three issues of interest to India. One is the economic situation that Sri Lanka finds itself in. It is paying the price for irresponsible credits from China. They had to mortgage away an entire port, the Hambantota port, because they couldn't pay for it. And they are again stuck in it. And it's not only China. Large credits for all these Chinese infrastructure projects lend countries in Asia and Africa into a debt they can't repay, and then they're stuck with the Sri Lankans or the recipients that have then to give the Chinese what they want, maybe a mining project, maybe something else. And therefore, I think it would be good at this stage. India has been giving economic assistance. If we joined hands with Japan, the United States, and countries and institutions like the World Bank and Asian Development Banks, which are Western financed, to help Sri Lanka out. That is, I think, important, because the more they get into a debt trap with the Chinese will next be asking for nuclear submarines to again call on Colombo. And I think Sri Lanka wants better relations with us. You saw the Prime Minister's very warm message of greetings to Mr. Rajapaksa. And the other problem which remains really is the issue of the Tamils. I think for the Tamils in the plantations, India is doing a lot. by way of housing and other assistance that we're giving. So I think that portion takes care. Though I think the Jaffna Tamil demands are unrealistic and won't be considered. Finally, we have the issue of fishing
Right.
near Sri Lankan ports. Our fishermen get caught, but they have no business to transgress and go into Sri Lankan territorial waters. So I think this problem will have to be also sorted out at the Tamil Nadu end to caution people that don't get into Sri Lankan territorial waters. Because when I went to Jaffna, it was not the Lankan Sinhalas who were complaining about Indian fishing. It was the Tamils in Jaffna saying their fishing resources were being taken away by, speed boats, fast-moving mechanized craft, which Indian fishermen were bringing. So I think these are issues we can tackle. I think the important thing is to keep Sri Lanka on a course by which it doesn't get to take action on various Chinese demands.
Right.
And lastly, I think it should be made very clear to Sri Lanka that the maximum revenues they get for port activities from India. And the persons who are earning this from this is China. Now, there's no question of that continuing. The port expansion, we would expect as a friendly country.
And the growing Chinese influence, of course, has been a key electoral issue throughout as well. Stay with me, Ambassador. The Rajapaksa brothers have won the Sri Lankan parliamentary elections. It's a landslide, giving them the two-thirds majority required to make constitutional changes. Now, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa is most likely to be sworn in the same position by his younger brother, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. But what does this election victory mean for the Rajapaksas and for India? The strong mandate will now authorize the Rajapaksas to amend the Lankan constitution so as to restore presidential powers which were curbed in 2015 due to constitutional reform. This will enable them to revoke the country's 19th constitutional amendment, which has been a long-standing campaign promise. Sri Lanka is expected to take a pro-China stance. All the more, now that the Rajapaksas have returned to power, the brothers are known for their hawkish attitude towards the West and for cozying up to China. For starters, this will have a huge bearing on India's presence in the Indian Ocean region, where Beijing is increasingly making inroads. Beijing in the past has granted Sri Lanka billions of dollars for infrastructure projects. Last July, China gifted a warship to Sri Lanka in the latest sign of its deepening military cooperation with the strategically located island nation. But Sri Lanka will want to maintain cordial relations with India. For many years now, India has been pressing Sri Lanka to implement the 13th Amendment, which devolves the powers to the Tamil majority northern and eastern provinces of Sri Lanka. The return of the Rajapaksa brothers means that there is greater disillusionment among Tamil voters, that their aspiration for proper implementation of the 13th Amendment is unlikely to be met. The Lankan economy is in an abysmal state. Besides mounting debt, it's also facing a refinancing crisis aggravated by the COVID-19 pandemic. This gives India the opportunity to capitalize on the same. Just last week, the Reserve Bank of India, remember, agreed to a $400 million currency swap facility for Sri Lanka till November 2022. Rajapaksa had first asked for a moratorium on debt repayment during his visit to India in February this year. Sri Lanka owes approximately $960 million to India, giving New Delhi an upper edge. After the election results, Prime Minister Modi proactively congratulated his newly elected counterpart. How New Delhi handles this highly expected political victory for the Rajapaksas remains to be seen. Going back across to Ambassador Parthasarathy, just quick remarks from you, Ambassador, on one of the most crucial aspects when it comes to the India-Sri Lanka partnership, which is countering terrorism. Post the bombings, of course, the issue of national security also dominated the electoral landscape in the island nation. To what extent do we now see the two sides further bolstering the counter-terror cooperation?
I think even for the last explosions, we had tipped them off in advance. So the intelligence mechanisms which we have on ISIS are very clear. And our boys are keeping close tabs on that. I think that will work.
Ambassador Parthasarathy, thanks very much for joining us with those perspectives. We're going to leave it there for the moment.